end of the month, which means it's time for another reading wrap up. I read 9 books in February, and in terms of quantity, it's not as many as I usually would read, but in terms of quality, it was definitely one of my best reading months. I did have 3 5-star reads, which is absolutely insane. February literally went by in a blink of an eye. It was also my birthday, and I did turn 24, which is kind of crazy. I feel like I'm getting old. I did receive some super exciting book mail from some book besties from Booktube, which I'm super grateful for. I literally cannot wait to read these books. Making a Booktube account was truly one of the best things I've ever done for myself. I'm so grateful for the amazing friendships and connections that I have formed through that app and just through our love of reading. And bestie Nikki surprised me with a special edition of one of my favorite books of all time. Guys, I literally screamed and cried when I opened this because what do you mean? Basically, the story behind this is that I have wanted this special edition for the longest time, but honestly, I couldn't find it anywhere. And then when it came back in stock, it was super pricey and I just couldn't justify paying that much for it because it's from Owl Crate, which is in America, and I don't even have a physical copy of this book. So yeah, and I just kept thinking about it, couldn't get it out of my head. I kept talking to her about it and how much I wanted it, and she told me that she has had this for months and kept it a secret from me for months, which, excuse me, how did you even manage to do that? It's insane. Nikki and I literally speak every single day. She's one of my favorite people in the whole entire world. And I genuinely can't believe that she actually managed to get this, because what do you mean? I literally can't get over it. Like, she is so incredibly beautiful. I'm genuinely in awe. I'm going to show you guys the inside of this because I have been literally showing this to everybody, and yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with her. And this is the reversible dust jacket. Look at this. I literally cannot believe it. Like, are you joking? Isn't that the most beautiful thing you have ever seen in your entire life? These are my babies, Nina and Patrick. If you haven't read this book yet, you literally need to run and read it because it is one of my favorite romanticises of all time. Like, this was absolutely incredible. This is like Peaky Blinders meets fantasy romance. It's incredible. Anyways, let's actually go over the books that I read in February. Okay, the first book that I read is Heart the Lover by Lily King. And unfortunately, we didn't start the month off great because I did in fact give this 2 stars. I really wasn't a fan of this, which I'm really sad about because I have heard nothing but amazing things about this book. So I think I am in the minority. This was a heartfelt coming of age story that takes an unexpected turn. It was a well-written story. However, I really struggled to connect with the characters. The characters to me appeared very unlikable, underdeveloped and surface level, and therefore I just really struggled to relate to them. As literary fiction is so heavily character driven, it's crucial to form an emotional connection to the characters, and this as a result significantly impacted my reading experience. The second half of the novel takes a surprising and heartbreaking turn. While the subject matter is undeniably tragic, it just didn't hit me in the feels as much as I hoped it would. Because I never really felt truly invested in the characters, the emotional impact for me just wasn't there. I was expecting a tearjerker because I have seen everyone cry over this, but unfortunately it just didn't have that desired effect on me. I gave this 2 stars because it was an easy read. It was quite short as well, and it was intriguing enough to keep me reading. I can appreciate the quality of the writing and the exploration of themes in this, such as first love, friendship, memory, youth, nostalgia. Ultimately though, the execution just wasn't there for me. Without a strong connection to the characters, ultimately the story just fell flat for me, and I just didn't resonate with it in the way that I hoped I would. But that's not to say that I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, because I think it is so subjective, and of course everyone has a different reading experience, so you might enjoy this way more than I did. Okay, then I read June 1st by Jennifer Hartman, and I think this is my 4th Jennifer Hartman novel, and I absolutely loved it. No one writes angsty forbidden romance quite like Jennifer Hartman. Her writing is incredibly beautiful and she has a real gift for making you feel such deep, intense emotions. It's impossible not to get attached to her characters and in turn have your heart shattered alongside them. So June 1st is a powerful, emotional, moving and beautifully written slow burn forbidden romance. It's layered with tragedy, trauma, loss and healing. So the story follows Brant and June, who essentially grow up as adopted siblings after Brant gets taken in by June's family following a devastating childhood tragedy. Spanning many years, their connection begins as something innocent. However, it gradually turns into an intense bond that blurs the line between familial love and something far deeper. These two go through absolute hell. My heart broke for them again and again. Yet despite everything, there is no denying that these two are soulmates in every sense of the word, and their love truly transcends any societal expectations and boundaries. This is a gut-wrenching love story that truly takes you on an emotional journey with these characters, as any Jennifer Hartman book. I love her writing so much. She is one of my favorite authors of all time. You truly do feel every ounce of their pain and hope and longing. It is an absolute page turner and I am truly in awe of Jennifer Hartman's remarkable storytelling. She handles such sensitive, complex topics with utmost care, and to be honest, this book only further solidified why she's one of my favorite authors. This book is an absolute must read, but of course it won't be for everyone. But if you do enjoy a forbidden, taboo, darker romance, then definitely check this out. Then I read Dawn of the North, which is the newest installment in the Ashen series by Demi Winters, and this is one of my favorite fantasy romance series of all time. This is a Viking inspired fantasy romance and it's truly incredible and so underrated. It's incredibly rare to find a series that truly gets better and better with every installment, one that continues to surprise you instead of recycling the same plot lines, and this series is exactly that. Dawn of the North was the latest installment. There are currently 3 books out and a novella, and this was absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 5-book series. This book was everything I wanted it to be and more, and it has officially cemented this series as god tier for me. The character development is unmatched. The plot progression is flawless. The world building continues to expand and the romances are everything. So we get multiple POVs and multiple romances, which are all so compelling, and I'm deeply invested in every single one. With so much happening and so many different POVs, it would be easy for the story to become overwhelming, but everything flows together so seamlessly. The FMCs are phenomenal, each wildly different, but so powerful and resilient in their own unique ways. The MMCs will have you swooning. This book is the perfect setup for the remainder of the series. Demi Winters does an exceptional job of answering questions while introducing new twists that keep the stakes high and the anticipation building. This book doesn't leave on a brutal cliffhanger, which I really loved, but it definitely leaves questions about what's going to happen next. Please take this as your sign to pick up this series. It's truly so good. It's a Viking inspired romantic fantasy with high stakes, forbidden magic, multi-POV, found family, plot twist. We have animal companions, a unique magic system, and the most delicious tension-filled slow burn romances. I am utterly obsessed with this series and I cannot stop raving about it, and I need everyone to read this. Then I read The Correspondent by Virginia Evans, and this book truly made me feel. That's the only way I can describe it. It truly reminded me why I love reading so much. So The Correspondent is a literary fiction novel, and it was a wonderfully unique and fascinating story. It follows Sybil, a sharp-tongued, witty and stubborn 73-year-old woman who is using letters to navigate her life, her relationships, her regrets, and past traumas. The novel is largely epistolary, which essentially just means that it's told through letters and correspondence, which gives it a reflective and intimate tone because you truly get to know Sybil on a deeper level. It's a very character-driven book, and personally those are my absolute favourite types of stories to read. If you enjoy thoughtful stories about identity, relationships, self-reflection, grief, forgiveness, and the power of literature, then you absolutely need to pick this up. At its core, this is a story about human connection and human experience. It reminds us that we are all flawed and that it's never too late to grow, to change, and to learn. Above all, it captures how we all share a desire to be understood, and I really loved how it emphasizes the power and importance of language, showing that the words we choose, either written or spoken, carry real weight and can have a profound impact. Overall, this was an absolutely beautiful and moving novel. For a book under 300 pages to have had such a huge emotional impact on me really says a lot. I felt so deeply connected to Sybil throughout, and I genuinely couldn't put this book down. The storytelling through letters was so unique and refreshing. I've truly never read anything quite like it. I will be thinking about this book for a very, very long time and truly cannot recommend it enough. Run and read this immediately. Then I finally read a physical book, shock horror. This is May Luna by Kelly McNeil, and this was an infinity star read. This is one of my new favourite romance books of all time. I have not felt this way about a romance book in so long. This is the kind of story that completely consumes you, the kind that makes you want to ignore all your responsibilities and stay up until 3 a.m. reading. I can promise you now that this is a book that you will not be able to put down. I'm convinced that there was crack in between these pages. I cannot even begin to express how much I loved this book. From the very first page to the very last, I was hooked. It was so captivating and I just needed to carry on reading, otherwise I would not rest. Okay, so the novel tells the story of an iconic rock band called May Luna, who rose to fame in the 1990s, and the hidden love story that shaped its history. At the heart of it is Carter, who is the lead singer of the band, and Evie, who's a journalist writing a piece on the band. Evie's grown-up children find a photograph of her and Carter, sparking questions about her past. This therefore leads to Evie revealing the untold story about her and Carter. This book is a poignant, emotional journey, unlike anything I've read in a very long time. I strongly advise you to go into this as blind as possible, because then you will fully experience the emotional impact of this book. But just know, many, many, many tears were shed. Like I say, this has officially become one of my new favorite books of all time, and it is a god tier book. This was an infinity star read. I absolutely loved it. It's beautiful, it's heartbreaking. I completely fell in love with these characters. If you love a rock star romance, found family, and emotional, angsty, unforgettable love stories with a love so profound that you feel it right down to your bones, you need to read this. I genuinely don't know how I'm going to recover from this book. It has been haunting me since I finished it. Then I read another Jennifer Hartman book, and that is Aria. This was packed full of drama, suspense, and messiness, and I absolutely ate it up. Was it perfect? No. But at the same time, I didn't care too much because I do love Jennifer Hartman and anything that she writes. My main issues with the book were with the FMC. I did find her to be insufferable at times, and I did want to knock some sense into her. So this was actually Jennifer Hartman's debut novel, and I have read quite a few of her books by now, and it is evident that her writing has improved massively. Not to say that the writing in this book was bad by any means, but the improvement is definitely noticeable. That said, in true Jennifer Hartman fashion, this book did cause me severe emotional damage. Like I say, Jennifer Hartman has a real gift for ripping your heart out and stomping on it repeatedly. Guys, why is it that when I film, people decide to be so fucking loud? every single time. So the story follows our FMC Chelsea, who has a very dark and traumatic past, and our MMC Noah, who is the guitarist of a rising rock band. So this is another rockstar romance. Initially, Chelsea starts dating the band's lead singer. However, Noah, who is also a single dad, by the way, he finds himself drawn to her after one drunken night she accidentally reveals her deepest secrets about her past to him. Overall, this was an angsty, forbidden romance with incredibly high emotional stakes. It does include some sensitive themes, so please check your trigger warnings. But this was an absolute page turner. I could not put it down and binged it in no time. But then, unfortunately, listen, I did try to read the second book in this duet, which is Coda, and I did DNF this 10% in because of something that happens, which I can't reveal because it's a huge spoiler. But unfortunately, I could not look past it. So it's kind of like made the rating go down a bit for Aria, because I just feel like this should have remained as a standalone and just been left as it is. I don't necessarily think it needed a second book. But hey, what do I know? Regardless, I would still recommend Aria, but I just wouldn't recommend the second book. So make of that what you will. Then I read Oleander by Scarlett Drake, and this is an romance which has been on my radar for the longest time, since I was obsessed with romance books back in December. That's all due to Heated Rivalry, which, yeah, I'm not even gonna get into that. I absolutely loved this book. This was an emotionally intense, heartbreaking and angsty, toxic love story that gripped me completely. One thing about me is that I live for a toxic romance in books, okay? Not in real life. Stay away from me. But I will eat up the drama every single time. So this book is centered around the tumultuous years-long relationship between Jude and Caspian. This is not a cute, fluffy romance book whatsoever. It's filled with angst, pining, emotional turmoil and misunderstanding and heartbreak. It's very character driven, and it does feature complex, flawed characters. Caspian is portrayed metaphorically as poison. He's beautiful, alluring and dangerous. Jude's journey follows his personal growth, his heartbreak and his deep, all-consuming connection to Caspian. This book remarkably captures the messy and complicated nature of loving someone who is not always good for you. The writing itself is so beautiful and lyrical. It added so much depth to the story. If you are looking for a book that is beautifully written, dramatic and powerful enough to move you, then this is a must read. This was actually my audiobook of the month. I do try and listen to at least one audiobook per month, and I absolutely loved it, even though it's single narration. The narrator delivered an exceptional performance. His voice and storytelling was so captivating. A narrator can either make or break the story, but in this instance, he truly elevated the experience for me. I loved this book. I can't recommend it enough, and definitely read it on audiobook. Well, listen to it. Then I finally started my Then I started my Crescent City journey. Oh my god, guys, what a journey. What a journey. House of Earth and Blood, a 5-star masterpiece. This was incredible. I read ACOTAR back in 2024. It's been a long time. I then read Throne of Glass last year. Throne of Glass is unmatched. Nothing will ever compare to that series. And I've been a bit skeptical about starting Crescent City because this gets quite a lot of hate, and I'm not sure why. I absolutely devoured this, and I'm not sure why I was scared, because Sarah J Maas can do no wrong. Bryce has officially cemented herself as my new all-time favourite FMC. She is an absolute queen and a certified baddie. I have the biggest crush on her. It's genuinely sickening. Like, she is so insanely hot. If you're not familiar with what this series is about, the story follows Bryce Quinlan, who is half fae, half human, and her life gets shattered after a brutal murder occurs. Years later, when similar crimes begin to surface, she is pulled into the investigation, and she reluctantly teams up with a fallen angel called Hunt Athalar. and the two of them are trying to uncover this conspiracy that is threatening the city. So this is an urban fantasy, which is not everyone's cup of tea, but for me personally, I love an urban fantasy. So this is a modern setting. So we have phones, clubs, guns, all that jazz. There are angels, fae, shifters, witches, and demons. And the plot is centered around this murder mystery paired with the most scrumptious slow burn romance. I thought this was an incredibly strong start to the series. Like I say, I adore an urban fantasy, so I knew I would eat this up. In terms of the world building, for me personally, I didn't find it too overwhelming and I thought it was quite easy to digest, but I have seen people say that it can be quite dense. I just didn't find that to be the case in my own personal experience because I think because I've read so many fantasy books now, and I have read some really complex world building, that this to me just felt like a regular fantasy romance setup. But of course, everyone is different and reading is so subjective. So just bear that in mind going in, I guess. The pacing can be a bit slower at times, I will say, but the payoff is unreal and so worth it. I am completely and utterly obsessed with these characters and the world that SJM has created. It's impossible not to get attached to her characters. I was not expecting a 5-star level of emotional investment. This wasn't feeling like a 5-star read to me, but then the final 150 pages happened, and in true SJM fashion, I literally cried a river of tears. Yeah, I was emotionally distraught, and the ending of this book is going to haunt me forever, I fear. Naturally, I'm obsessed with Hunt and Bryce, but can we also take a moment to talk about Rune Dannon, because yeah, he was giving me major vibes. I'm not sure whether this is necessarily going to be my favourite SJM series, but this book was an absolute masterpiece. I absolutely loved it. Now, I am slightly cheating because I'm not fully finished with this one yet. I have about 200 pages left, but this is the only day I can film this. It's the last day of February, so I will be finishing this today regardless. But I do have some thoughts and feelings that I just want to share. House of Sky and Breath though, not gonna lie, not as invested in this one as I was in the previous book. I just don't necessarily think these books need to be this bloody chunky. But hey, I'm still enjoying it. I'm loving the introduction of the new characters for sure. I'm just not sure if the plot is really giving me much. Not gonna lie, not loads has happened in this book, but I am trusting the process because I just know that the ending is gonna go crazy. So we shall see. I would still recommend it for sure. It's just not been my favorite book, but I'm still excited to see where the story is gonna go. We have got one more book to go, so who knows what's gonna happen. So those were all the books that I read in February. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you stick around.